The Justin Robert Young podcast is brought to you, as always, by Stickers or DIAF. We got new shit, son! New shit! Yes! It's the holidays. That means that two things have happened. Number one, we have new product here at Stickers or DIAF, and here's what it is. This pin set. I'm wearing one of them right here. It is a Please Don't Die pin. A JuRY Mega Man X themed pin, and an old Captain Morgan Mahoy. That is where you can go ahead and support the show by getting these awesome pins. They are enamel. They are 1-inch soft enamel pins. $24.99 gets you all three. Also, we have brought out the vault for our holiday packs. That means that every sticker that we ever have done will be back in the mega pack. $19.99 like it always is. This time you get stuff, art from Spearmint Nitrate, art from Carter Johnson that you're no longer able to get, stuff that we've discontinued, as well as two new pieces of art, one for JuRY, two new stickers, one for JuRY and one for Politics, drawn by my brother Eric Young. I love his art, and he has two awesome pieces of art that you guys can get in every pack, but also the Mega Pack $19.99 is the way to go. These deals are only available through Christmas, so you better get them now. Go ahead and check them out, Stickers or DIAF. But enough of talking about how we support the show. What do you say we just do the damn thing?
Ugly ain't the half, look at you. Well, you got blue teeth and you only got two teeth, but I kinda like to see you smile. And it appears that over the years you've turned into a big old steaming pile. And she said, yeah, I know I ain't no supermodel. I said, you ain't a hand model, baby, but that's fine. You're pretty ugly by most people's standards, but you're all right by mine.
Welcome back. Fresh off vacay. It's your boy, Justin Robert Young. Hey, everybody, friends and fam. The holiday season is upon us, which means we're going to talk about annoying Christmas songs. We got them ranked. The most annoying Christmas songs of all time ranked. We're going to get into salty journalism. Whew! I read something yesterday that is so salty. So salty. You could just shake. I shook my phone and full grains of sea salt fell off it. It was pretty amazing. We got another dating trend. It's getting wild out here with these dating trends. Angela Lansbury shot her mouth off. But of course, I'm going to start with something that we are all thinking of. The nation has begun this conversation about Arby's buying Buffalo Wild Wings. So this is a new story here. Buffalo Wild Wings, Beer Sports, bought by Arby's. They have the meats. Now, you would presume that the reason why Buffalo Wild Wings got sold to Arby's is because maybe they are not quite the trend that they used to be. You see franchises like this kind of go, up and down, right? Seems as if people are finding new and different ways to spend their dollars. So, maybe the idea of a gathering place for sports is not what it used to be. So I was trying to think of in the pre-show. We're going to roll this right into there. You can go ahead and take our vote. Twitter.com/Justin Robert Young. Sorry, Twitter.com/Justin R. Young. that what would bring people back to Buffalo Wild Wings. And so I wanted to marry it with another trend that is going in the opposite direction in this country, and that is the legalization of weed. Big times here in California as they are about to take their, I think, 10-year plus medical marijuana system and take it perfectly legal. Recreational weed hitting California at the start of the new year. And now it's crazy out here in the Bay Area. Like, I've seen multiple ad buys, multiple gigantic, we are talking millions of dollars worth of ad buys for billboards for different weed dispensaries. Because everybody wants to be the brand name of weed in California. And there's a lot of places that have the in, right? They've got the supply. They've got the pipeline. They ain't going to run out of weed. And not in California. So I figured, would you be more likely to go to a Buffalo Wild Wings if they let you smoke weed? Could Buffalo Wild Wings say, all right now we're appealing to 20-somethings, 30-somethings, mostly guys, right? Like we're a Hooters that you cannot be ashamed to take your girlfriend to, right? There's like we're you know, it's kind of a bro-y sort of like, yeah man, what do you want to do? Drink some beer, watch some sports, we're doing a thing. Forget that. Now the new novelty is people leaving their houses to go smoke weed as opposed to going and drinking alcohol. So the question again, I am putting out to the nation, twitter.com/Justin R. Young. Are you more likely to go to a Buffalo Wild Wings if it was Wings Weed Sports? I don't know. I mean, you never know. Listen, you're Buffalo Wild Wings. You got to take some swings. You got to figure this out. Let's talk about Angela Lansbury. I don't know if Angela Lansbury's ever smoked weed. Question to everybody. Do you think Angela Lansbury smoked weed? To the chat, everybody watching us live at twitch.tv/Justin R. Young. I'll bet you Angela Lansbury. I don't know if she did. I would love it if she did, though. I think that would be really funny. If, like, Angela Lansbury was, like, secretly Snoop Dogg level weed head, right? If everybody was just like, you have rock stars and stuff like that. You're like, oh, who's the person that you smoked weed with that's, like, the craziest weed smoker? It's like, I don't know, like Method Man, Red Man. You want to know who's got vacuum lungs? Angela Lansbury. Murdered the blunt she did when I was in it. I was in a circle with Angela Lansbury, and that lady took a full Dutch Master down to halftime in 2 puffs. Like, fucking, you could just hear it right now. He's just like, oh, who's got the blunt? Oh, it's just me, Angela Lansbury. She's fucking clowning motherfuckers, trying to flick their ear when everybody gets too high. She's a bully. Angela Lansbury is a weed-smoking bully. Oh, y'all done already? I'm Angela Lansbury. I'm the queen. All right, but let's move on to what she's actually in the news for. Slightly more surprising. By the way, I don't know. Did Angela Lansbury lie about her age or something? Angela Lansbury is fucking 93 years old. 92 or 93? 92. And Man, I'm never smoking weed with Angela Lansbury again. What if she had a terrible reputation? That's the funniest idea, right? As if she was just like a terrible person to get high with. Man, I think Angela Lansbury stole $20 out of my wallet when I got too high with her. Angela, did you see anybody go into my wallet? Nope. Damn. Angela Lansbury's a stone cold killer. Angela Lansbury's 92 years old. For whatever reason, she's still doing extemporaneous interviews at 92 years old. Right? Like, you got to figure, if you're Angela Lansbury at 92, you should just be like, hey, listen, I'm not doing any interviews unless it's like, what was it like to be Jessica Fletcher? And she's like, oh, it was great. I wrote about murder. It's crazy. My life is great. Hey, remember when you sang Beauty and the Beast? Yup, it was awesome. I love it. I'm Angela Lansbury. But nah, man, she's out there. She's given opinions on the day, and she got herself into a real kerfuffle. This is from USA Today. USA Today. This is from USA Today. At a time when Hollywood is grappling with mounting allegations of sexual harassment and assault, Angela Lansbury says she believes women must at least partially be held responsible and accountable for instances of harassment. In an interview with the Radio Times published Tuesday, the actress who played Jessica Fletcher in the television series Murder, She Wrote said women are to some degree responsible. Here's the money quote. There are two sides to this coin, Lansbury, 92 years old, said. We have to own up to the fact that women, since time immemorial, have gone out of their way to make themselves attractive. And unfortunately, it has backfired on us. And this is where we are today. We must take some blame, women, she continued. I really do think that although it's awful to say that we can't make ourselves look as attractive as possible without being knocked down and raped. She then added, but the guy took it out. Like, did I say that out loud? I'm sorry. I'm hella high right now. I'm Angela Lansbury. Oh my God. So she became a trending topic on Twitter. Yep. 92 years old and we're dragging Angela Lansbury. We ain't got nothing better to do on Twitter than to drag born before fucking World War II, Murder, She Wrote, tale as old as time, song as old as rhyme, singing Angela ass Lansbury. That's what we do. That's what we do. Because she said a thing that was inappropriate. And for the record, before you get up in my pee hole about this, I think that's a bad thing to say. I think if she were to rephrase it, she would. I also think that she was born the year that Mein Kampf was released. She was of the generation that gave birth to the generation that is now facing repercussions for their decades of sexual assault. So, I mean, like, really, we can't let Angela Lansbury slide on a bad take. We can't just hit her with, yo, bad take, Angela. You want to know what? You're 92. Why don't you keep writing that murder? No, we want to murder her online. Patricia Arquette did. That's what she had to say on Twitter. When Angela Lansbury blames sexual assaults on victims being too attractive, she needs a reminder that a 3-month-old was raped. Do we really need to remind the 92-year-old? Do we? Really? We really need to remind the 92-year-old that a 3-month-old was raped. Or Nashville dad pleads guilty to raping a 3-month-old baby is the article that she linked. I don't know if we need to, right? You know, I don't know if that's a need. Doesn't matter how young or old, how beautiful or homely, rapists rape, end of story. No, I think that's true. You know, I'm not here. Again, bad take to Angela Lansbury. But like, you know, really, I just don't. It just seems superfluous to me. 92. She's Angela Lansbury. She hasn't said anything controversial ever in her life, and she slipped up with one bad take, and the Radio Times is like, headline: Angela Lansbury blames the victims. How about Angela Lansbury's 90 fucking 2 years old and said something stupid? I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong on this. Gambling Man in the chat says I'm noping so much on this I might just leave. Well, I mean, listen, I again, this is not me saying that she wasn't wrong. She was wrong. It's a bad take. It's a very bad take. You should not be propagating the idea that women's dress has anything to do with men's sexual violence or harassment on them. Let me be very crystal clear. To that, I part ways with Angela Lansbury. There are two things that me and Angela don't get along about. Number one, I don't think it's appropriate for you to steal $20 out of somebody's wallet just because you're less high than them. And number two, I believe that no matter how you dress, you should be expected as a human being to not be sexually violated or harassed. I think that those two things are a core tenet that defines me against my opponent in this race, Angela Lansbury. Ooh, I'd love to run against Angela Lansbury. I would take that bitch down. I just don't know how much we need to make a deal about it. And here I am making a deal about the fact that we don't need to make a deal about it, so let's go ahead and move on. You know, we did a little thing, a little survey a couple months ago, where we asked you guys, listeners to the show, what you liked about the show, what you liked, what you didn't like, what you wanted more of, what you wanted less of. And one of the things that people liked was me doing the inside journalism-y stuff. So I have to say that we have a great inside journalism story for you today. In fact, I'm going to be your journalism translator today. Yes. On the show, I am going to translate what to me was one of the most salty pieces of journalism I have ever seen. Now, let me set this up. Project Veritas is a organization, nonprofit, run by a man named James O'Keefe. They have made their name specifically, I think, with the Acorn program. They've targeted CNN. Basically, they do these undercover stings where they go in and they take a hidden video, edit it together, many times very favorably to their narrative, and then release it. Usually trying to demonstrate exactly how corrupt these institutions are. They are a right-wing organization. They target left-wing groups and government programs. Second thing you need to know is that there is a Alabama Senate race right now, special election to replace Jeff Sessions. And one of the candidates, Roy Moore, the Republican, has been accused by multiple women of trying to date them when they were teenagers and he was 30 years old. one of which has come forward and said that he tried to date her and indeed brought her to his house and rubbed genitals when she was 15, under the legal limit. What would be called by the law, and he should know the law. He was a prosecutor at the time, eventually became a judge. That is child molestation, because it is under the legal limit. So a lady came to the Washington Post, or emailed the Washington Post first and said, hey, look, now you want to know what? Let me just read this. Now you have all the backstory. I'm going to read this for you. I'm going to read as much of it as I can before it gets boring. And then we will see where we go. Okay, here we go. A woman who has falsely claimed to the Washington Post that Roy Moore, the Republican U.S. Senate candidate in Alabama, impregnated her as a teenager, appears to work with an organization that uses deceptive tactics to secretly record conversations in an effort to embarrass its targets. This is a tightly written lead. This is good. This is good newspaper journalism. This is everything you need. Everything you need to know about the story wrapped up in one sentence. That's a lead. Here's what we like to call a nut graph. In a series of interviews over 2 weeks, the woman shared a dramatic story about an alleged sexual relationship with Moore in 1992 that led to an abortion when she was 15. During the interview, she repeatedly pressed the Post reporters to give their opinions on the effects of her claims that could have Moore's candidacy. Claims could have on Moore's candidacy if she went public. Boom. The Post did not publish an article based on her unsubstantiated account. When Post reporters confronted her with inconsistencies in her stories and an internet posting that raised doubts about her motivations, she insisted that she was not working with any organization that targets journalists. All right, here. This is basically what you've just read so far. Bitch, you fucked up. You fucked up. You fucked up. You tried to get us, but now we got you because you fucked up. That's what they are saying. In fact, you can actually, if you look, they train you in journalism school. When you look at these stories, it fades out like a magic eye, and you can see sheet music that reads exactly, you fucked up. You fucked up. You thought you got us, but then we got you. You fucked up. Because, a lot of times when you see opinion in coming through in writing, and really you have to write news stuff to kind of understand where those little things come in, or it helps. I mean, I guess you don't have to. But like, you just know when a writer hates a source. You know, you start to read it, right? It comes through in little adjectives and stuff like that. This is the equivalent of, like, you hear stories of like, if a cop makes them chase you, that you're gonna get your ass kicked a little bit more. Or it's like, if somebody shot a cop, then they're not gonna make it out of wherever they're trying to hide. They're just gonna like, oh, they drew a gun. Oops, I guess they're dead. This is that equivalent for the Washington Post. They came for these reporters' jobs. They came for these reporters' careers. And they are going to make this woman look as bad as possible. They are emptying the chest of anything that they can prove. They are going to make her look as stupid as possible. Because what this woman did, and make no mistake, this woman tried to get everybody involved in this story fired. They tried to get editors fired at the Washington Post. So no one's going to have very much sympathy for her. Now, it gets better. On Monday morning, Post reporters saw her walking into the New York offices of Project Veritas, an organization that targets the mainstream news media and left-leaning groups. The organization sets up undercover stings that involve using false cover stories and covert video recordings to expose what the group says is media bias. So what did they do? They made a stakeout outside of Project Veritas' office. They trailed this lady. James O'Keefe, the Project Veritas founder, who was convicted of a misdemeanor in 2010 for using a fake identity to enter a federal building during a previous sting. So let's just toss that in right there. Convicted. He has been convicted of a misdemeanor. First reference, convicted of a misdemeanor. There you go. Does not need to happen. It's going to happen because you fucked up. You fucked up. You thought you had us, but now we got you because you fucked up. He declined to answer questions about the woman outside the organization's office on Monday morning, shortly after the woman had walked inside. I'm not doing interviews right now, said O'Keefe. I'm not going to say a word. No, here. I want to get to this part. So they asked the Moore campaign. They talk about all the other shit that O'Keefe wouldn't talk about. And then in general, okay, so the group's efforts illustrate the lengths at which activists have gone to try to discredit the media outlets for reporting on allegations from multiple women that Moore pursued them when they were teenagers and he was in his early 30s. Moore has denied that he did anything improper. But I want to get to this. This series of paragraphs is my favorite. This is where it's the gloves are off. They're like, yo, you fucked up, and now we're playing prison rules. You want to see a biased media? You want to see a biased media? Guess what? Biased media is here now. We are biased against making you look like the dumbest pieces of garbage that we have ever seen. We are all dumber for having listened to what you have had to say. I award you no points. And may God have mercy on your soul. Let's get into this. The woman who approached Post reporters is Jamie T. Phillips. Did not respond to calls to her cellular phone late Monday. Her car remained in the Project Veritas parking lot for more than an hour. The Post positioned live video reporters outside the group's office in Merrimack, New York, after determining that Phillips lives in Stamford, Connecticut, and realizing that the two locations were just 16 miles apart. Two reporters followed her home as she drove from her home as she drove to the office. So they let her go. They trailed her. You want to know why? Because she fucked up and they were going to make sure they buttoned up every element. Now, again, when you work in a newsroom, you get a lot of tips. And I can only imagine in a national story like this, how many tips you get into your inbox. You follow down a million of them. You know, you would be amazed when disasters happen, how much insane information is out there. You got people, I mean, and this is even on the penny ante horse shit that I worked at. You would get people coming out of the woodwork to tell you stuff. So when this kind of stuff is happening, and they are the forefront of reporting about this scandal in Alabama, I'm sure they have had dozens of people come in and send them either feelers if I'd kind of like to tell my story or something more specific. And some of them are fake. Some of them play out. But none of them get reported. This one's getting reported. Oh yeah, JuRY. This one's getting reported. It's getting reported so much that they had a stakeout at this woman's house until she went to work. Then they followed her to her work. They didn't go ask her questions outside her house. They made sure that she left and went to her job so they could confirm that she indeed worked where they thought she worked. Because now this was the story. You trying to burn our ass. That's the story. Here's where it gets bare knuckles. Here's where it gets prison rules. After Phillips was observed entering the Project Veritas office, the Post made the unusual decision to report her previous off-the-record comments. And now we go to the Post's executive editor, Martin Barron. We always honor off-the-record agreements when they're entered in good faith. But this so-called off-the-record conversation was the essence of a scheme to deceive and embarrass us. The intent by Project Veritas clearly was to publicize the conversation if we fell for their trap. Because of our customary journalistic rigor, we weren't fooled. And we can't honor an off-the-record agreement that was solicited maliciously in bad faith. Said plainly, they fucked up. They fucked up. You thought you had us, but now we got you because you fucked up. So Phillips' arrival at the Project Veritas office capped a weeks-long effort that began only hours after the Post published an article on November 9th that included allegations that Moore once initiated a sexual encounter with a 14-year-old. Did I say 15 earlier? 14-year-old named Lee Korfman. Post reporter Beth Reinhard, who co-wrote the article about Korfman, received a cryptic email early the next morning. Quote, Roy Moore in Alabama, I might know something, but I need to keep myself safe. How do we do this? So then it goes into all this. You can read about exactly how they went back and forth. Eventually, the Post starts to research this. And when they research this, some things start to fall apart. They started to ask her hard questions about exactly how long she lived in Alabama, exactly where she was, whether or not there could be another, there could be a way that they can solidify that she lived in this place. Now, Project Veritas was probably assuming that they would run with some element of this and either use her as a background source or something else. Then they could hold up the Washington Post, they could hold up their video and say, look, even if they did not maliciously make these accusations up, here's how easily they're fooled. So first, this lady doesn't get her story straight and gets burnt with one of the Post reporters. Then she goes to another Post reporter, Stephanie McCrumman. This is when they find this. Alice Kreitz, because by the way, look at this. Look at this. They're shouting out everybody who got, this is like in college football when everybody gets one of those logos on the helmets, they're getting everybody who is involved with blowing up this Project Veritas schemes. They're all getting name checked. Because I will guarantee you, in other stuff that is not this personal, they don't cite Alice Kreitz. Although, listen, fact checkers, very important parts of newspapers, right? Huge parts. Alice Kreitz isn't getting name checked unless this is a Deion Sanders touchdown dance on Project Veritas. But she gets a shout out. Found a document that strongly reinforced the reporter's suspicions. A webpage for a fundraising campaign by somebody with the same name. It was on the website GoFundMe under the name Jamie Phillips. Oh, relocating to New York. This is what it said. I'm moving to New York, the May 29th appeal said. I've accepted a job to work in the conservative media movement to combat the lies and deceit of the liberal mainstream media. I'll be using my skills as a researcher and fact checker to help our movement. I was laid off from my mortgage job a few months ago and came across this opportunity to change my career path. In a March posting on its Facebook page, Project Veritas said it was seeking 12 new undercover reporters. The job's listed goal was to adopt an alias persona, gain access to an identified person of interest, and persuade that person to reveal information. So then they go into this. Not only are they just name-checking people that they wouldn't normally, but they go in almost pornographic detail on how much they made this lady shit herself. Okay? It is lyrical how much they respond. It might as well be like, hark, the light did break on a fall morning betwixt the cherry blossoms of Washington, D.C. Oh, also look at this. Then they go back in on second reference and get into all the criminal charges. O'Keefe's criminal record has caused his charities problems. Mississippi and Utah stripped the group of a license to raise money in those states because it failed to disclose O'Keefe's convictions in state applications. Also working at Veritas is former television producer Robert J. Halderman, who was sentenced to 6 months in jail in 2010 after he was accused of trying to blackmail late-night host David Letterman. Halderman was with O'Keefe outside Project Veritas' office Monday as a reporter tried to ask about Phillips' role within the organization. Also, we'd like to note that if any of these motherfuckers had parking tickets that were unpaid, we'd report on those too, because you fucked up. Hey, you fucked up. Thought you had us, but now we got you because you fucked up. McCrumman agreed to meet with Phillips in that afternoon, the story continues. Phillips suggested meeting somewhere in Alexandria, Virginia, saying she was shopping in the area. Post-video reporters accompanied McCrumman, who bought the printout of the fundraising page, to the interview. So we're already setting it up. This shit is like candid camera. Does anybody get that reference? This shit is like Punk'd. Does anybody get that reference? This shit is like whatever hidden camera prank show exists on YouTube. Again, Phillips had arrived early and was waiting with McCrumman, her purse resting on the table. When McCrumman put her purse near Phillips' purse to block a possible camera, Phillips moved hers. The post-video reporter sat separately, unnoticed, at an adjacent table. Because they fucked up. Phillips said she didn't want to get into the details of what she had said between her and Moore. She said that she wanted McCrumman to assure her that the article would result in Moore's defeat. And if you've ever watched the Project Veritas stuff, a lot of it is just kind of very colloquial people saying like, yeah, you want to know what? Fuck them. You know, they're Republicans, yada, yada, yada. Because they think they're talking, all these Project Veritas people, they go and they just gaslight, you know, people, and they goad them into saying shit that they shouldn't. And it's fucked up that they say it. But, you know, if somebody's like, yeah, hey, fuck Trump, right? Yeah, fuck Trump, fuck Trump, fuck Trump. What about you, JuRY? Say it into this mic. She said she wanted McCrumman to assure her that the article would result in Moore's defeat. According to the recording, McCrumman instead asked her about her story regarding Moore. Phillips complained that President Trump had endorsed Moore. Quote, oh, see, again, now they're getting into quotes, right? They are recording an off-the-record conversation so they can embarrass this woman. So my whole thing is, like, I want him to be completely taken out of the race. And I really expected that was going to happen, and now it's not, so I don't know what to think about that. McCrumman asked Phillips to verify her identity with a photo identification. Phillips provided a Georgia driver's license. McCrumman then asked her about her GoFundMe page. And here's where the poop falls out of her butt. Oh, my God. Look, and they give their reporter an attaboy. They quote her directly, knowing that we need to be brought into this encounter. Quote, we have a process of doing checking backgrounds and this kind of thing. So I want to ask you about one thing, McCrumman said, pulling out a copy of the page and reading from it. So I just wanted to ask if you could explain this, and I also wanted to let you know, Jamie, that this is being recorded and video recorded. That's the sound of poop they should have audibly put into the article when you read it. It should have made a fart noise to illustrate how much this lady was now crapping herself. Okay, Phillips said. Yeah, I was looking to take a job last summer in New York, but it fell through. Yeah, it was going to be with the Daily Caller, but it ended up falling through, so I wasn't able to do it. So they immediately, yes, there's video of all this. So they go full Arrested Development and immediately go to the fact check. So this is the last thing that we said. Yeah, it was going to be with the Daily Caller, but it ended up falling through, so I wasn't able to do it. She hadn't. In fact, I'm just going to read this next paragraph right here as Ron Howard, as the narrator of Arrested Development. And I'm only going to add she hadn't. She hadn't. When asked who at the Daily Caller interviewed her, Phillips said Kathy, before pausing again, adding the last name Johnson. Paul Connor, executive editor at the Daily Caller, said Monday that no one with the name Kathy Johnson works for the publication and that he has no record of having personally interviewed Phillips. Connor later said in an email that he had asked top editors at the Daily Caller and the affiliated Daily Caller News Foundation about Phillips. Quote, "None of us have interviewed a woman by the name of Jamie Phillips." That's the Daily Caller saying, get my name out your mouth. What the fuck? No. We are not going down. Because you fucked up. Not us fucked up. You fucked up. Get the Daily. Stop it. We don't know anybody named Jamie. In fact, we're firing all of our Jamies right now. All y'all, get pink slips. Get the hell out. We are a Jamie-free environment. We then go back to the back to the meeting. At the Alexandria restaurant on Wednesday, Phillips told the Post that she had not been in contact with the Moore campaign. As the interview ended, Phillips told McCrumman that she was not recording the conversation. "I think I probably just wanted to cancel and not go through at this point," Phillips said at Souvlaki Bar shortly before ending the interview. "I'm not going to answer any more questions," she said. "I think I'm just going to go." She picked up her coat and her bag and returned her drink to the front counter and left the restaurant. Now get ready. Here is the final cherry. The final cherry is this last two lines. By 7 p.m., the message on the GoFundMe page was gone and replaced by a new one. Campaign is complete and no longer active. They had to embarrass her just that last time. Just that last time. To show that they have her on tape. They've got the Project Veritas people. She is straight cold busted. And they got to get her one more time on the fact that she tried too late to cover her tracks. Mwah. Mwah. Anybody who listens to politics knows that I am always going to be pro-journalist. I can be critical sometimes. And I do think that journalism is not a profession without its consistent faults. However, that's got to feel good. That's got to be better. That's better than sex. That's better than sex, right? Like if journalists know, writers know. Because if you're a journalist, you've been burnt. You've been burnt by a source. I've been burnt by a source. I think I've told this story. I got burnt by a kid for the G4 Underground that said that he was doing I forget what drug it was during esports tournaments. And he lied, straight up lied, found out afterward. That dude screwed me, screwed the show, right? And, I would love to get that kid. I would have loved to get that kid. The Post got him. Post got him. Oh, my God. And listen, it's a hard thing to do because a lot of sources have motives. A lot of people, you think a lot of people want to come out and have their name like associated with all this stuff? Hell no, they don't. They don't want they don't want it. They're doing it for a reason. Sometimes they want to affect change. Sometimes their motives are about as pure as you can get. But more often than not, you get a lot of people that are out there to upset an apple cart, to screw somebody else over. That's just the name of the game. You got to make sure that they're telling the truth, and you have to mitigate their motives as much as you can. But there ain't a whole lot you can do. You mean you're not gonna, you're not gonna change humanity, right? Like you're not gonna make people not selfish. But this, rare, pornographic professional revenge from the Washington Post. I just knew I had to talk about it. And look, and they put her up there, and she's got her purse up there on the table pointing at her. Oh my God. So good. I felt a release. I felt an actual physical release just reading it. Oh man, we're already kind of at the end of the show. How much time do we have? Oh man. This went way too long. I just burped into the mic. That's not good. All right, I guess these next two we'll have to wait till next week. We have kitten fishing. We have annoying Christmas songs. I guess those are evergreen. Tell you what, email in your annoying Christmas songs. We'll do a big old give me your most annoying Christmas song. Your most annoying Christmas song right here on the show. And or to justinrobertyoung@gmail.com, and we will talk about them on the show. All right. By the way, let's go ahead and read our poll. If it was permitted by law, would you be more likely to visit a Buffalo Wild Wings if they also let you smoke weed? 53% no. 47% yes. So the no's have it. Smoking weed at the Buffalo Wild Wings would be a detriment. It would be a bug, not a feature. Let's get into our emails. You can go ahead and email me, justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Again, that is justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. Brian writes in my college days, I always used to joke to myself that New Found Glory, one of the mainstays of the late 90s pop punk, with as much as they seemed to appeal to teen girls, were all but guaranteed to get charged with statutory rape. Of course, I never really believed it. I always perceived them as decent people who would do right by the scene. But now, one of the New Found Glory guys has been popped with statutory rape. True story. I heard about New Found Glory, guys in New Found Glory being really into girls that were probably on the wrong side of the line back when I was going to high school and knew girls that were on the wrong side of the line. So it was funny that Brian wrote that in because, that was something that was out there back in the day, back when they were probably doing it. It was not a big thing. You know, some guys just can't quit it. All right. Jay Grote, long time, first time, yada, yada. I live in Philly. I was in town last week for your show, but I did not come. I feel bad about this because it was a very depression-style deer in the headlights night last night. In deciding about going to watch the Sixers with some college people that I borderline dislike or going to see your show, I decided to wallow in some sadness alone instead. Perhaps it was the spectacularly gloomy day, good impression of the winter Northeast, which you know I have thoughts on. Perhaps it was the sometimes obsessive need for me to fill my time with work so I don't have the energy stored up, things outside of those times. Perhaps sometimes humans are just comfortable in these depressed moments when I haven't had one in a while. I just wanted to write you and say that I wanted to be there, but I couldn't do it, and perhaps I'll get another chance in the future. I wanted to say as well that your show about depression, I'm blanking on the episode number, but the quote was, we all try to measure ourselves in happiness, but we should measure ourselves in momentum, has stayed with me in good times and the bad because it was put so simply. Hey now, I put this out there and maybe I'll feel slightly better. That's some one-sided therapy for you. Not the most carefully crafted email, but maybe I'll get a more profound one out sometime, and maybe I'll see you the next time you come through. All right. Jake, first and foremost, thank you for even thinking about coming to the show. And thank you to everybody again who came out to the Politics live show in Philadelphia. Had a great crowd. Was more than what we needed to make the money back for the venue, which I was happy about. Was a great precedent going forward. If you are in the Bay Area, keep an eye out for early March. Might have another live show coming up in early March. Also a live show at South by Southwest, almost assured. So March is going to be a place to see me live for these single mic podcasts in both California and Texas. Very, very, very excited about doing those. But let's get into this depression thing. Here's all I would say. There is no wrong way to deal with depression because it is pervasive. It is an adaptive problem, meaning doing one thing that works for you once might not work a second time, let alone what some jack-off on the internet tells you. Here's all I would say, though. You should have went to one. Either the Sixers game or my show. Leave soon thereafter if it's not what you want. But I do think that if obviously you felt bad about it afterward enough to write, Jake, then what you need, what your body is telling you, what your mind is telling you, is that it wanted to be at one of them. Now, your mind also told you no, you don't go, which is the fucked up thing. But I would say the more healthy reaction would be to have gotten out of the house if what you wanted to do was get out of the house. So, again, measure your life in momentum and not happiness. If you came close, it's good. Next time, get there. Momentum, momentum, momentum. Man, that show went by fast. That was a real fast one. All right, everybody. Do me a favor. If you want to support this show, head on over to patreon.com/JuRY. I want to thank Dadak for the music. Oh, actually, no. I want to thank Spinto Band and the Possum Posse for the music. I want to thank everybody who is going to Stickers or DIAF right now. New pin set. New in the vault stickers. I want to thank everybody who's emailing the show at justinrobertyoung@gmail.com. Put JuRY in the subject line. I want to remind everybody Twitter, Instagram, and Snapchat is Justin R. Young. Which brings us to this moment. Folks, this is your old pal JuRY saying, please don't.
Diamond Club hopes you have enjoyed this program.